On this week's show, we are talking about the new scheduling feature and new instructor rumors.
And I got to interview community member Parisa Zander and much, much more.
Welcome to Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. Here are your hosts, Amanda Siegel and John Pruitt.
Welcome to episode 26 of Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. My name is John Pruitt, and I am joined by my co-host, Amanda Siegel. What's up, Amanda?
Hey, John. How are you?
I am good. How's your week been?
My week has been good. Yeah, it was an interesting week. You know, I'm going to share because why not? It was an interesting week. I hit a milestone this past week, and my boo didn't shout me out, and there was like this feeling of, you know, just guttedness. But you know, honestly, John, I have to say this Peloton community and everybody that I have, you know, associated myself with are just amazing. And the support and just the love and whatever folks had shared with me was truly, truly amazing. But Leanne actually saw that she missed it. And she sent me the most amazing message. And then I rode with her again. And then I rode with her again on Thursday because she does Tuesdays and Thursdays live rides. And I rode with her again on Thursday. Yeah. And she did a belated shout out. I was blown away. I mean, I was getting messages like, wow, like she gave you a shout out like 2 days later. I went through this period of, John, and I think that you may have even said something to me. I went through this period of, do I delete rides so that I redo my 1200 ride? And I just couldn't bring myself. You know, I do put myself out there, no question. And I, you know, everyone knew I was doing my 1200 ride, so I just didn't feel right in deleting and doing it again. I said if I had done it quietly and she hadn't done it, I may have done it. But it was awesome. It was awesome.
Well, don't feel so bad. It happens to the best of us. I remember early on, Jen Sherman missed 3 of my milestones in a row. Oh. And I don't know if it was an issue where she wasn't seeing a lot of people on her tablet in the studio, but that bummed me out a little bit. But you know, she spoils me either way. So
that makes me feel, you know what, John? That makes me feel a hell of a lot better.
Yeah, happens to the best of us.
It definitely makes me feel better. But I know, you know, for so many out there, you know, that are certainly watching or listening to the show, you know, it sucks because everybody wants to get a shout out. And truthfully, there's no way that these instructors there's just no way they can get through everybody. And look, some of us like you and I, and hence us, you know, hopefully the fact that folks like watching us on the show is because we do have a connection, you know, to some of the instructors, and it makes for something a little bit more fun. But they try. And truthfully, when you're on a ride, you don't want to just hear the shout outs all the time. You know, you kind of want to hear the cues. You want to hear what they have to say. They put so much effort into curating these rides. So so that was my week. But otherwise, it was a good week. They're just flying by, John. It's crazy.
Before we get started with the news, we want to remind everyone how you can keep up to date with all our content across all our platforms. Every episode, as well as our breaking news items, are released on our YouTube channel. Just hit the subscribe button. Make sure you click notifications so you never miss an update from us.
Absolutely. And folks, for those of you that prefer to listen to us whilst on the move, there are our podcasts. The episode appears on the podcast on all the podcast platforms. So make sure that you just search for Pelo Buddy TV, hit the subscribe button so that you never miss an episode.
Yeah. And we're also on Facebook and Instagram. Find us under Pelo Buddy. Follow us, and don't hesitate to leave us a review. If you like the show, you know, let it be known. If you want to hear an interview, if there's a suggestion for someone we could interview from the Peloton community, you know, we probably can't get Dan Levy from Schitt's Creek, who apparently rides a Peloton, but we can try. But if there's anyone in particular that we should be interviewing on the show, please let us know. And we appreciate your feedback.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, John, let's get on with the show.
First, let's do a rundown of the latest Pelo news.
Big news this week. Peloton released their new scheduling feature. This is just for the iOS app for, Apple users, iPhone users, iPad. And now you can curate on the app basically a schedule of live and on-demand classes. So I actually tested it out. I just put together, I noticed there was a live ride today. So I clicked add. So basically you go into the app. Instead of previously it would say count in or count yourself in. So now it just says, it says you're in, it says add to schedule. After you click that, it says you're in. And so now basically, like if I hold up my phone, you can see live and encore. And now there's a separate tab over here for your schedule. So now I can, it shows a live ride with Emma plus a 20-minute on-demand class that I added right afterwards. So for on-demand, you can just go in, find an on-demand class, click it, add to schedule, and then it'll ask you for the date and time that you want to add it. So really nice, easy way to sort of organize your classes. And then you can also text someone directly a link to that class if they want to add it to their schedule as well. So you're in sync that way. Really nice feature and really well organized in the app. So you can just toggle over to all the workouts that you want to line up for that week. If you're someone that likes to put everything together well in advance, it makes it a really clean, easy layout, to add and remove, as you go through your week.
Yeah, I have to say, John, that it's amazing. It's fantastic. And definitely, if you have your workout buddies and folks like to do things together, it's a nice way. There's still a lot of tweaking that I felt that needs to be done. Like one of the things that would be really cool, which is what they had done with the stacks, was that it translated back to your bike or to your tread. So, you can set yourself up, but then when you go to your bike, I was hoping, because I did the same. I set up my day, for the day that I was going to do it. And when I went to my bike, I was hoping that I could actually see my schedule on the bike. And
you can pull it up.
Yeah, that part you can't do yet, right? So
no, it hasn't been. Yeah, it hasn't been added to the bike or the tread tablets.
Yep. So hopefully, maybe that'll show up.
It apparently should.
Yeah, a pop-up that'll show up. Okay, I wasn't aware of that.
That's what the producers are chiming in, telling us.
Right. I love it. I love having that control room feed going on there. So that's something I'll have to look into. But I love the ease of it on on your phone, being able to do that. And the other thing is you obviously have to have a connection to whomever you're, sending. And I think I sent you something just to test it out. But you have to have somebody's, Facebook account or telephone number to text them. It doesn't quite get you to their leaderboard. So there's some tweaking that they could do, I think, that would make it fun. So that folks, there's no brilliant start.
It's a good start for sure.
I like
that. I did Allie's Thursday 45-minute 80s ride, and on Wednesday night, I texted my godfather, who lives in the Boston area, a link to Allie's class, because he's working. He rides random times, so we've never really done a live ride together.
Yeah.
He's a big Emma Lovewell fan, but I texted him just for shits and giggles, hey, come join me this is at 8 a.m., Eastern time in the morning. And he just said, no can do, working. But I was testing it out, but, it came across as, a nice long link where if you click it, it just pulls up the class in the app, and then you can add it to your schedule if you want to put it in.
A really easy way to do it. Yeah, no, I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I love how they're continuously trying to, they listen to us, they listen to what the members in the community are saying and what they, what we want to see. And they try. And I think it's awesome. I think that's really, I think that's really awesome. Well, John, It looks like there may be a new sheriff in town. I mean, instructor. Rumor has it that there's actually a new Peloton instructor that may be appearing soon. He goes by the name of Daniel Yankee McKenna. And what we have learned here at Pelo Buddy is that it looks like Daniel may be joining the Tread team. So teaching running, strength, tread boot camp, and cardio. He does have a website, and on his website, he describes himself as the creator of the Irish Yank Society. That's interesting. He's actually also a former Irish athlete who became a personal trainer. So he has certified as a personal trainer, and his mission is to make one's best self. So he's looking at, taking somebody, and certainly in his personal training, that's what he's done, is making you believe in yourself and making you the best self that you can be. For folks that are interested, you can actually follow him on Instagram. He does have his Instagram up, and it's the Irish_Yank. So if you want to get to know him a little bit better, you can find him there. There's no word yet on when he would be joining the team and when we can see him on the platform. But you know that you'll hear it here first. So as soon as we know, you guys will know. But that'll be interesting. It'll be fun and interesting. So he is living in New York. So my understanding would be he'd be a US instructor. But I'm looking forward to seeing what unfolds with our Irish Yankee.
And I don't know where Pelo Buddy gets this intel from, because I haven't heard anything about this, but I'm curious if it's true, how far along he is in the onboarding training process. Because I feel like from when they sign with Peloton to when they're actually announced, it's a good 6-month ramp up. I feel like when they're going through the motions and everything is under wraps, and they have to keep their lips sealed. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how far along if it pans out when he's announced. For sure.
But it's funny because when I went onto his Instagram, quite a few of the instructors follow him. So I think he definitely, is in the cards. But you're right. I would be, because, we reported, Bradley Rose last year. We were all excited. And we haven't seen
when's that
anything.
Announcement, Pelo Buddy?
Right. So we haven't seen anything there yet. So yeah, I guess we'll wait and see. But it's always fun to know that we kind of share this information with you guys, and that you can get to hear it first, and everyone can there's a bit of a buzz and we get excited. And I think it also is nice for them because it gives them a little bit of a push and an edge and a promotion, and they're kind of getting free advertising from Pelo Buddy TV. Yeah,
I'm sure they're getting some follows. They're getting some social media interest.
Yeah,
cool.
So it's cool. So yep, that's something we have to look forward to.
Well, moving on, just this past week on February 9th, Peloton's new lower cost tread, just titled the Tread, went on sale in Canada. And currently right now, the more expensive Tread Plus model still continues to be only available in the US, but Canadian members now can order the Tread up there, and there's a couple packages that they have to choose from. If they want to bundle, some of the weights and the heart rate monitor and the resistance bands and all that good stuff.
Awesome. Yeah. And I've seen, it's been fun to watch the Brits start to get theirs. So, they're now, I guess they started ordering them back in November, but now we're seeing more and more folks, that are utilizing them in the UK. So it's been really fun to follow, folks that I follow.
Well, who just got their lower cost Tread in their New York City apartment? I don't know if you saw on social media. Miss Allie Love.
I did.
And posted it, with the delivery team there. Everyone's wearing their masks, but yeah, it looks like she has it, tucked away in that corner, that opposite corner of her windows in her sort of main living room space on the opposite side of her bike. But, I know she loves to run, because one time when I went to the studio on 23rd Street in New York, she was in the front area. She was just doing a run on the tread. She was working out.
Oh, wow.
Just, with headphones on, getting her workout in.
How
so
cool.
I'm sure she's excited to have that in her apartment now.
Yeah. And I'm sure getting the smaller one was probably so much better because she probably couldn't have fitted that, the big one. So I think definitely for folks, this is going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. So I'm looking forward.
I'm curious to know, I know at least one person, a lot of members, they can't speak about it. I guess they have to sign non-disclosure agreements, but some members have gotten the new lower cost tread in the United States. They've had it for a little while now. But I guess they can't, put it out there publicly. But I noticed one of my friends that I follow on the leaderboard, we were in a tread class together and I'd never seen her post anything tread related on social anywhere. And I looked at her stats and it just said tread instead of tread plus next to her workout. So I messaged them and I just said, "Hey, how you liking that new tread?" She goes, "How do you know? I have to keep my lips are sealed. I can't say anything."
That's cool though. So I remember when they had sent out to ask folks if they wanted to kind of be guinea pigs, and I don't know anybody that had done anything. So that's cool to know that there are people out there that in fact are trying them, and that's awesome.
And she bought it, I guess. I didn't know what the process was. I said, "Oh, do you return it afterwards?" And she goes, "Oh no, I bought it. It's just kind of got it." So it's still kind of cool.
Yeah, John. So actually a couple of folks in the US, I think you mentioned something last week in last week's episode, but that they can, in fact, there's some zip codes that are getting accessibility to order the Tread here in the States. So not everybody, but they're getting emails in certain zip codes that are, I guess, for whatever reason, I'm not sure, maybe just from, manufacturing perspective, it's close. I don't know what the reason is, but there are some folks in the US that are able to get to order the Tread too. So it's, nice. For sure. And talking about Canada and getting the Tread, we are back to Down Under. It looks, John, that Australia is going to, in fact, be on the map for Peloton. So as we reported last week, that Australia was something that Pelo Buddy had found out as being potentially the next market. And that in fact they are going to be the next country to launch, as there was evidence on Twitter that we had mentioned that had been discovered by Bob Tremor, that permits have been filed for a Sydney Peloton showroom. We also had reported that apparently over 2 years ago, Peloton had been filing for their logos and emblems to be trademarked in Australia. But now a building permit in Sydney was filed where one can actually see the schematics of a showroom or a retail store. And with like 2 bikes and a tread, I think I mentioned that last week. But this week, we confirmed that the business registration was filed and registered by Peloton Interactive Australia, Pty Limited. And that was done back in October of 2020. With the first location, in fact, being at Martin Place in Sydney. And that was where the former Tesla store had been located. So no question that it's very exciting. I'm pleased to know that us reporting that last week, right hot off the press, that in fact it does look like it's going to be somewhere on the horizon. So that's really exciting. Yes, John. So just to confirm that it was actually Bob Tremor that had found the additional information, and he's super great in putting that out there. And obviously our beloved Chris Lewis gets that information, and we're able to present it to you guys.
You mentioned they started filing for permits over 2 years ago. It's interesting to see how lengthy a timetable that whole process is from start to finish. How much goes into it, obviously.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see when they launch.
Yeah. And again, I think, I'm sure that COVID and the pandemic probably halted stuff too. If we're, Australia have been fortunate enough not to have been as badly hit as we have been here, in the States and in Europe. As I mentioned last week too, I have a huge network of friends, in Sydney, ex-South Africans that live in Sydney. So they actually have been fortunate not to have been hit quite as badly, and they really nipped it in the bud quickly. But I'm sure that delayed some of the process as well. So interesting.
Right. Yeah, with traveling there. Sure.
Yeah.
Well, we have 2 new members who formed Peloton's recently created Health and Wellness Advisory Council, Dr. Heather Irabunda and Dr. Pooja Laksham. Dr. Bunda, she's a board-certified gynecologist, and Dr. Laksham is a psychiatrist specializing in perinatal psychology. Together with our head instructor and VP of fitness programming, Robin Arzon, who's currently expecting. They'll work together to reshape how women think about caring for themselves during this special time in their life.
Fantastic. I wonder if the OBGYN is actually Robin's OBGYN, because you mentioned they were community members that they've brought into this wellness. Is that how I'm understanding it?
I don't know. I don't know if they're Peloton members.
Okay.
It didn't say anything in it didn't mention that they were from Peloton's, press release, that they were current members, but.
Got it. Yeah, that's amazing.
Assume so.
Yeah, I probably would assume so, but it would be even fun to know. I'm sure maybe the OBGYN is in fact Robin's, and they were talking about how they can incorporate this into the Peloton platform, because that is one of the things that I've so admired, is that they do focus so much. I mean, look, clearly it's a health and fitness, platform, but that they do incorporate so many aspects of health and wellness, onto the platform. So that's fantastic.
And now they have prenatal content, for expecting mothers too. And I'm sure she has content in the pipeline. I know she's put out, a couple things that are prenatal related, but I'm sure she's got other content she's probably working on cultivating.
Right. And I think I read something about her, once she's had the baby, doing postnatal stuff too, how to kind of get your body back.
Makes sense.
Which will be fantastic. Yeah. There's so many women that you see on the platform and on social media that are pregnant, that are riding, right up until their, due dates. So that'll be awesome to have that aspect of it as well. And how do I get myself back onto the bike? Because as we all know, having a child can be quite traumatic on the body. So being able to kind of slowly ease into it. And I think Robin will do an amazing job in guiding those women that have just delivered, kind of getting back into the groove and getting back into, into working out, which is fantastic.
I'm waiting for that baby. I'm waiting for that announcement to come. I don't know when she's due, but I feel like it's any day now. I don't remember when she's due either.
I know. I have to look that up. We have to mention that. I can't remember when she's due either. But, the time's flying by so fast that it's probably any day, before we know it, it'll be any day. She's great. She's got a beautiful belly. So she's clearly, she's clearly almost there, which is amazing and good for her. I mean, I've said it before, but I truly admire her that she took something like this and just showed, regular folks out there that one can keep their health going and be fit and healthy through pregnancy. And, I wish that was around, 25 years ago when I was pregnant for the first time, because believe you me, I didn't look anywhere the way Robin Arzon looks. But we won't go there. Moving on. So yeah, John, so it actually looks like Peloton are continuing to file for new trademarks. Again, our source, Bob Tremor, who gets to find out everything, has discovered that a trademark petition was filed spanning coffee, tea, and snacks. This in fact comes after they received approval for trademarks covering smoothies. I guess we can assume that this is all just most likely meant for their small footprint of cafes. But what is interesting, though, is that this is on the heels of their active litigation with the tea company Peloton Cold Brew. That still owns the Class 30 trademark. and Peloton had sued them, and we had reported that on the show weeks ago, that Peloton had sued them. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all pans out, but it seems like they want to make sure that they own that trademark for any possible thing that they could be doing, with the name in the future. So that was interesting to see.
And that's still ongoing. Their case against the Peloton cold brew.
Correct. That has not been resolved as of yet. Yeah. So I guess we'll see.
I've never had have you ever had a smoothie, a Peloton smoothie at
I have.
Their cafe and at the old studio?
I have. It's so funny because I literally I had ridden there back in March, right before the studio closed. I did a ride with Kendall, and my mom had actually come with me, and she had sat she sat waiting while I was riding. She sat in the little thing, and I had ordered her a smoothie, and she had a smoothie while I was waiting. She said to me it was amazing, so I went and had one too, and they're actually they're great. I mean, they were great, but I have actually had one. Have you never? Really? All the times you've been in the studio, you never ordered one?
No, because I was always worried about I was going to get stomach issues, and I didn't want to. I'd be riding all day, and I didn't want to have to jump off the bike and race.
Right.
Because the old locker room there, it just has one toilet, so sometimes you're waiting outside of it for. Oh gosh. The staff use it too. So no, I never. One time I got one of the bottled, iced sort of coffee. I just wanted something with a ton of caffeine from the little cooler fridge that they had there. But no, yes. I never got adventurous enough to get a smoothie.
Yeah, I was smart. So I got mine after my ride. So I grabbed it on the way out, but it was good. But it's nice that they, that they thought of all of this, because look, I think, this is going to be around for a while. So they might as well make sure that they have all their T's, crossed and their I's dotted.
Yeah. Got to get all their irons in the fire. Big picture.
Exactly.
Well, Peloton is raising quite a bit of cash. $1 billion to be exact, as we reported recently with a picture of Dr. Evil. Chris Lewis is a big fan of that image.
I love it.
So Peloton recently announced on their investor page they're going to offer $600 million in convertible senior notes, which would come due in 2026. But later in the day, they then upped that and increased it to 875 in convertible senior notes with an extra 125 million in extra aggregate principal. I'm not a big finance person, so a lot of this is just over my head. But basically, bottom line, it would result in $1 billion in cash for Peloton. Wow. Although after discounts, commissions, yada yada yada, expenses, Peloton would net about 854 million. And change.
Wow.
The company itself, Peloton stated the money would be for general corporate purposes, which may include working capital, working expenditures, as well as for the construction and expansion of a lot of their facilities, and investments and acquisitions of other companies, and also for product technology. The website, The Motley Fool, speculates that some of the cash would be used to pay for the recently announced $100 million investment that Peloton has committed to in helping to speed up shipping and cutting down on delay times for their products, for the Tread and bike. They also point out it could be used to pay for the recently announced $420 million acquisition of the company Precor. And some have even speculated that it could also be for future acquisitions, such as Tonal. So,
well, I'm holding out for that.
Yeah, that would look really nice on my wall, but I want it all Peloton.
I know.
I don't want to cheat on the brand.
I know. I told you. I think we spoke about it last week. I'm having
just like the rower.
Yeah. I know. I'm having such a hard time with that because I desperately, want to incorporate that, and I just don't know if I should be holding out or not. But I'll wait. It's okay. We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what happens.
I've got many payments to make on my Tread Plus, so I'm good.
Too. I'm still paying off my Tread Plus.
It'll be a while.
It's all worth it, though. It's all worth it. So definitely. switching gears, as Black History Month continues, so does the featured artist series, John. This past week, we saw the country musician Mickey Guyton featured with a ride with Ali Love last Wednesday evening, and a yoga flow, which was on demand with Ross Rayburn. For those of you folks that aren't familiar with Mickey Guyton, she was actually recently nominated for a Grammy Award for Best Country Solo Performance for her song Black Like Me. So clearly she's an up-and-coming artist. I had not heard of her, but I certainly have now, because I did the ride and it was amazing. I'm trying to think of what
song. How does Black Like Me go?
Oh God, I wouldn't. You don't even want to have me have any part in trying to sing anything. But but you know what I was going to say though, and this is what I love about Peloton. So this was an artist that I didn't know about. But I love riding with Ali, and it gave me an opportunity to collaborate a ride with somebody new that I could add into kind of my music repertoire. But I love that they do that. And, you know, for some folks, they may not listen to certain things, but they love the instructor. So they want to ride that ride and then might kind of get hooked on finding something new. So I really like that Peloton kind of, far reach. It's not only your more popular like Beyonce or Prince or Beatles, that they actually go a little bit out of the box and find some artists that aren't, well-known names to everybody. So I love that they do that. Yeah,
and it kind of forces you to expand your horizons. I know I never heard of Cardi B before the Cardi B ride.
Interesting.
And now Cardi B, I feel like Cardi B exploded, or at least my awareness of her did after that, because after that ride, people were just nonstop putting it in their playlists.
Right.
On all the classes. So it's great the way it's great the way they, get smaller acts, like you said, not just super mainstream, well-known.
Yeah, love it.
Pretty cool. So in other news, a big congratulations to DJ John Michael and getting engaged to his longtime partner, Brian King. They got engaged out in the desert at the Joshua Tree in California. Just recently, they posted on social. There's a cute picture of DJ John Michael, kneeling down on one knee, doing the holding, I guess, the ring to Brian. So that was super cute. So they seem to be having a good time on vacation, recently engaged. And Matt Wilpers, so speaking of vacation, Matt Wilpers taking a little vacation himself, doing some skiing somewhere. I don't know if he's in Utah or Colorado, but somewhere nice with a lot of fresh powder. And I guess he's into snowboarding, so he's snowboarding out there. And Chase Tucker did, Ben Aldis do a recent Ask Me Anything on Reddit, and Chase Tucker has one on Reddit, which at the time of recording this, he hasn't done it yet, but it's going down this evening on Reddit. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of comes of that once this episode airs.
Well, John, lastly, it would not be an episode without me throwing in something about Leanne, would it, right?
Yeah.
But she was just featured this past week on Pop Sugar. She had a fabulous article by Sophia Panich. And it basically talks about Leanne's how she creates her mood boosting playlists for her fun, sparkly rides. She did admit to being kind of all over the place with her taste of music, but she did share her love for the Spice Girls and how her goal is to have a Spice Girl artist series ride for us folks, and I don't know if you picked up, but on the ride that we did on Thursday, that ride that I spoke about at the beginning of the show that she called me out in, she started with a Spice Girl song.
I know. I didn't recognize it though.
I did not know it either.
I haven't heard
I
that
did not know it. It did not know it either. But that is definitely something that she's been talking about, and is certainly a goal of hers, is to get a Spice Girl artist ride. So we're going to have to listen out. I think I would be too. I think that could be really fun.
I'm a closet. I'd say I'm a closet Spice Girls fan. I don't put that out there very often. But who's your favorite Spice Girl, and what's your favorite Spice Girls song?
So, oh God, you're stumping me. But no, so my favorite Spice Girl, don't laugh, is Mel B. I love her. Okay. And I think it was purely from her appearance on America's Got Talent. I watched that show religiously, and she's so funny. She is so funny. Was it America's? Yeah, it was America's Got Talent, right?
Yeah, it was AGT.
Yeah, exactly. She's hysterical. She is absolutely hysterical. So she definitely did become my favorite. I have to say, as far as songs go, am I even going to attempt to sing it? If you want to be my lover, I will be my.
Yeah. The most
you made me stop there quickly. But yeah, I think that would be my favorite. And I mean, that she will rock it. I mean, she will look like a Spice Girl on that ride. She will have all the best pop, all the best songs on there. It would be really cool. But she did go on to say
you
that
didn't
music
ask me, John, who's your favorite Spice
Oh,
Girl? What's
John,
your
I'm
favorite
so sorry.
song?
You're right.
God.
John,
Back to me.
I need to know who your favorite Spice Girl is.
Well, I have always had a crush on Baby Spice, Emma Bunton. She's my favorite. Yeah. Maybe it's the blondes. I've always dated blondes. Jackie was a blonde when I met her. She's no longer a blonde. But
she isn't.
No, but she was when we first started dating in 2003. But my favorite Spice Girls song is Stop. Do you know that one?
Now, can you just kind of give me a couple lyrics?
It goes, stop right now, thank you very much. I need
yes.
With you in touch.
Yeah, that's a scream. I do.
When I worked for a brief amount of time, as a total tangent, at Tommy Hilfiger in the Short Hills Mall in New Jersey, they would have these musical discs that would have like 4 hours of music on it. And that song was on one of the discs, and I always loved when it came on over the speakers in the store.
Oh, that is hysterical! And you break out and dance, right?
Yeah,
and you totally break out and dance. That is so funny. That's so funny. So that could be. I do have to say that could be a ton of fun. So let's kind of cross our fingers. I know the UK community are certainly holding out for that. Everybody's waiting for Leanne to drop her Spice Girl ride. But she does go on to say that, and we all know that Leanne was a dancer, and she's danced for so many as a backup dancer for so many amazing artists. But she does go on to say that music is everything, and that when she curates her rides, she's always looking for something that there's something for somebody. You know what I mean? She said that she's incorporated Luther Vandross, Bob Marley, to Johnny Cash and the Wailers. And what she also said, and I have noticed that, is that she likes to bring in British artists. So every now and again she'll throw in, for us Americans, an unknown artist, but for the UK folks, definitely artists that they're very familiar. And one is Sophie Ellis-Bextor. And interestingly enough, John, I've actually been fortunate enough to have met her. I was at a function in the UK 2 years ago, and she was the guest. She was the guest singer with a big pregnant belly. And Sophie did Panic at the Disco. And actually, that was what her song was called. It was called Panic at the Disco. And she was amazing, an amazing artist. And she actually goes on she has on Instagram a show that she puts on through the pandemic on Friday nights. She has a pop party in her kitchen. So you should actually go and take a look at that, because she's fantastic. So Sophie is one that Leanne has brought into a couple of her rides. And of course, Steps. So she used to dance. She was a backup dancer for Steps. And I know that one of the US members had reached out and said, you talk about steps, but you never say 1, 2, 3. And Leanne was like, no. this is a group, which is quite funny. And their music is amazing. It's just fun and, very like exactly 1, 2, 3. You can imagine that. That's how they go. But interestingly, she says that her all-time favorite artist right now is Dua Lipa. And she says that she tries to throw in a song here and there in her rides because she absolutely loves the music. So her goal is to bring the community up on the dance floor. And when you ride with Leanne, you'll hear her say that, let's get up on the dance floor and in her sparkly fitness bubble. And she always does say that, music is everything. And one of the things that she, that resonates with her is that she's been very open about how hard the pandemic has been. And, UK are in their third lockdown and her and Ben have really not been able to see family, etc. And she said what she likes to do on a ride is kind of take folks out of that funk and just give them somewhere where they can just go on, enjoy. She says she doesn't care about the numbers. She doesn't care what you get, as far as the numbers go. For her, it truly is all about having fun, being on the dance floor with her in our sparkly fitness bubble.
Yeah, it's a nice distraction sometimes for a lot of us.
Yeah, and I love that you've started riding with her. I love seeing you on the leaderboard, and I love that you started riding with her because she's amazing. So it's nice to kind of mix it up. And it's funny, John, because, and this is what I kind of like about this, but I've started riding with Jen much more, and I think that's because of you. And I have mentioned this before. Jen was my go-to when I first started riding Peloton. That's all I had ridden with back in 2018. Jen was who I went to the studio and I rode with her a couple times live. And then, I kind of diversed and, went out there and broadened my horizons. Yeah. But once I had ridden live with Leanne in London, it was all about Leanne. So it's interesting. Well, Leanne and Ben, but it is interesting, and it's fun for us to get to ride with different folks. But definitely, I've been riding with Jen a lot more lately, and that's because you make it sound so fantastic, and I love how animated you are about her stuff and rides and following you. So for folks out there, try everybody. There is so much diversity on the platform. It is amazing, and I've said this time and time again. There is somebody for everybody. We don't have to have the haters. Every now and again you may see somebody talk about an instructor. Just don't ride with them. You don't like them, don't ride with them. There is somebody for everybody. And I have to say that that's something that I've really liked, and the fact that they're constantly finding new talent and new instructors to come on board is great, because there really will always be somebody for somebody for somebody. Which is great. Yeah. So that pretty much wraps up the news, John. Not quite as much as we had last week, but certainly some fun stuff going on. So it was fun to give you guys all that fabulous news.
Well, how about we end with our class picks of the week?
Let's go for it.
I'll let you go. I'll let you.
Oh, you're going to let me go first?
I was going to say ladies first.
Ladies first. Okay.
Age before beauty.
So I'll tell you, and I'm going to give a shout out. I didn't hear you say that. I'm going to pretend I didn't hear you say that.
I hear the chuckling.
I will tell you in the production room, right?
In the control room.
But I will tell you, John, that I loved Jen's pop ride that I did on Wednesday. That for me was fantastic. I would have told you that I would have loved the Tuesday ride if I'd gotten my shout out from Leanne, but I didn't. So there you go, Leanne. Jen's ride trumped you. But it was fun. You know what? It was funny because I wasn't going to ride on Wednesday. I was actually going to take off. And it was nice because it was in the middle of the day, which is kind of unusual for Jen. And I saw that you were riding. I missed the classic rock, but I jumped on for the pop and I loved it. It was just 20 minutes. The music was fantastic. I really, really do like riding with her. So that's my pick of the week. That was my pick for last week.
Nice. Well, I've got for members that like to stack, I got a nice, clean little 3-stack for you. So my first one is from Wednesday, February 10th, Jen Sherman's 20-minute classic rock ride. Great playlist. She put some Grateful Dead on there. And during it, she goes, Mr. Pruitt, I hope you're happy. I saw your message from earlier in the week. I don't even know what it said. I didn't even read it. I love you, but I didn't read it. So you got some touch of gray, okay?
Too funny.
That was a little cherry on top, because it's always fun when she plays Grateful Dead. And I always feel, and maybe it's just the ego, but I feel like whenever she plays Grateful Dead, she sometimes mentions me because she knows I always,
how much you love it.
Most of the time, I always request that when I gently nudge her to play some Dead, because there's other members. There's one other member, Howie Godnick. She always mentions him when she plays the Who because he's a big Who fan. And then my friend David Barnett, Jin's twin, he's a massive Fleetwood Mac fan. So whenever she Fleetwood Mac, she usually mentions him. For David in Dallas, he lives in Dallas, but he's from the UK originally. So 20-minute Jen Sherman classic rock ride. Use that as a warm-up. Still a good workout by itself. But if you want to tack on Allie Love's 45-minute 80s ride from Thursday, February 11th, that one's got a great sort of dance party. It's all songs from 1986. For some reason, she focused... Wow. When she put it together, all the songs happened to be were released around 1986, that year. So, she got some Danger Zone in there, Kenny Loggins, but super fun. And then right after I finished her 45-minute 80s ride, I stumbled upon a brand new 10-minute cool down from Thursday, February 11th, as well from your girl, Leanne, which I've already done it. I've already done it twice. And,
I did it too. Yep, it was fantastic.
I'll call this the Disney cool down because it's from 3 different Disney movies. You've got the Lion King, the new Lion King animated version that came out, a song from Pocahontas, and then a song from Aladdin, the new version. I think that Jordan Sparks is on that. She's on one of the tracks. But yeah, fun, super fun cool down. I've done it twice already, so nice way to finish your workout. Just chill out to some Disney tunes.
Awesome. Yep. Yeah. You know what? I forgot about that cool down. I did it too, and I loved it. Yeah, that's nice. That's awesome. That's a great stack. It's a long stack, but it's a good. No. It's good. An hour and a bit, and that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Excellent. Well, if you guys have any rides and stuff that you like, tell us about it. Make sure you comment on the Facebook feed or on Instagram. Let us know what great rides or runs or workouts you guys did, because we always like to be able to share that as well. Yeah, John. So I got to interview a community member, which I'm really excited for everybody to get to hear her story. I always find it so amazing how many amazing stories there are out there from our community members. And Parisa was just fabulous to interview. So looking
can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, it was really amazing. So stay tuned to coming up next will be our interview.
Let's get to know another person behind the leaderboard name in Pelo Chats.
On this week's Pelo Chat, we have an amazing story to share with you. I'm so pleased to welcome West Coast community member Parisa Zander onto the show. Hey, Parisa.
Hi, Amanda. How you doing today?
I am doing great, and we are so thrilled to have you on the show. I'm looking really forward to chatting with you and getting to learn a little bit more about you. So what we always like to do initially, Parisa, is just really find out a little bit more about different community members. And the purpose of Pelo Chat is just to give folks out there an opportunity to learn more about the community, more about the folks that are in the community. And everybody has a story. Everybody has a story. And we do try and find stories that will, just make a difference. And I really believe that your story has made a difference. I have loved chatting to you over the last few days as we've gotten to know each other. And I'm looking forward for you to share your story with the community. So let's start off by you just telling us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm Parisa Zander, like I said before. I'm here in Seattle, Washington, and I am what you would call a lupus warrior. So 13 years ago, I was diagnosed with a chronic condition. It's actually a disease called lupus. And what that is, it's basically the easiest way that I can explain it to folks is basically your body attacks itself. And so, quite a few years ago, like I said, I started feeling really ill. I was having these issues in terms of breathing, and, I didn't really know what was going on my whole life. I had been very, very active in the dance community. I was very, very active in yoga. And my doctor at the time actually thought I had sport-induced asthma because I was actually working out anywhere between 6 to 7 days a week. And, the reason why is because I, at the time, was in a very stressful job at a high-tech company out here. I can let you guys fill in the blanks and guess where. But, I had a very stressful job, 2 very small children, so a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old at the time. And I couldn't figure out why I wasn't able to take these deep breaths. And it really came to the culmination of me on my way to a large conference that we were having in Seattle. And I was actually supposed to be on stage in about 3 hours, and I couldn't take a deep breath, and I couldn't figure out what was going on, and my heart was racing. And so I called my doctor, and he had suggested coming in immediately because he was worried I was having a heart attack. It would not be unfounded at 35 years old, right? Because heart disease and heart attacks are the #1 killer of women.
Right.
And so he's like, you immediately need to come in. So went in, got the EKG, and he's like, no, your EKG is reading fine, but you definitely have a diffuse lung capacity. And what I'm looking at is almost 30%. And that's a lot. So fast forward, sent me over to the pulmonologist. The pulmonologist, very first thing he asked was, have I ever had any blood work done for lupus? And I just kind of looked at him. I had never heard of it before. And I said, no, never had that. And he goes, well, I can tell you one thing. This isn't asthma. There's no way. So let's go do some blood tests and see what happens. Fast forward came the diagnosis, which lupus is actually very difficult to diagnose. It takes anywhere for some folks 6 to 8 months, even longer, because it can show up in many different forms. A lot of times it is misdiagnosed for multiple sclerosis, rheumatoid arthritis, etc. And so I was lucky that I had a pulmonologist who jumped immediately on it, and then my journey began. And it was a really, really tough journey, to be honest. I had to take medical leave twice. And I still get choked up actually talking about it because, you go from being really, really active to being bedridden. And, when you have 2 very small children, it's very, very hard to try to explain to your kids why mom can't get out of bed. And my last bout that I had to take off work was for 3 months. And when I did return, I had to use a walker. And, again, really tough on the ego, especially for someone who is known as being a very strong-willed, strong-minded person. to feel so beat down. I went into, a pretty bad depression, to be honest. And, had to make some really hard decisions about putting my career on the back burner and getting my health back in place. And so, it was a long journey, really long journey, but, I'm really proud to say that I have been very lucky in the last 4 years to not to have had any, what they call flares. And a flare is basically where you start showing signs and symptoms of your lupus progressing. And so for me, when my joints start to hurt really, really bad, I know something's up. And it feels like a prickly feeling on your skin. And, the way that I also explain it to folks is, imagine having, like, you feel like you're sore from working out, multiply that by 5, and that's pretty normal. And so that's my journey in a nutshell. Today I'm doing great, feeling great, and, really, really lucky to be where I'm at.
So what had you been doing? So, clearly you had obviously kind of stopped working out and you said you had been so active. So was there anything you could do? Up until we'll get to obviously why we're here, but up until that point, what were you able to do? Were you able to do anything?
Yeah. My doctor had suggested getting really into yoga. And so for my own mindset, right? So trying to get myself out of that depression. And I was dead set on not having to take drugs. I just did not want to do it. Along with everything else, I was taking anywhere between 15 and 18 a day. And so when you think of looking at that pill box, quite honestly, it's really depressing. And so for me, it was really, really important to feel like I could start knocking out some of these pills. Okay, like what can I do to not have to take this one? What can I do to not have to take this one? And so it really came out to diet. I cut out majority of like junk food, no sugar, gluten-free, no nightshade. Like you say it, I went on a super strict diet, which basically meant I didn't really get to eat a whole lot. But, I did that for a year, along with meditation, which I'm horrible at, but tried, yoga, and that helped kind of reset my system and obviously taking the stress out of my life. So, did that for, probably about 2 to 3 years. And got really burnt out on it. Yoga also for me, in the back of my mind, always had this bad connotation, if that makes sense, because it was one of the toughest points in my life. And so something I had loved so much ended up being really hard for me to just go back to. I fell out of it. Then ended up trying to do CrossFit, which, hindsight 2020, like looking at it, I'm like, what was I thinking doing CrossFit? Like what? I'm built like olive oil, for God's sakes. But the thinking is that if I could continue to build muscle mass, that would help and keep me active. It took one blowout of my back. I'm not kidding. I pulled a back muscle so bad that I was like, I'm out. I can't do this. And then I took a good 2 years off, found Orange Theory.
Okay.
And I was doing that, pretty religiously, total Orange Theory fanatic. Then the pandemic hit. And so I had bought a treadmill from a competitor of Peloton. And, it was during the time frame, I ended up buying it in May. And it was in the time frame where the weather in Seattle actually turns out to be nice. Okay. So you can imagine that thing has been used not much. It's really pretty though, and it was really expensive. And so it sits right next to my Peloton. And so I had quite a few friends who are part of this community. And when the weather started turning again, and I knew I was not going to be able to go out of this house, they're like, "Oh, you should get a Peloton." And so I'm like, "Hey, honey, I think I know what I want for Christmas and my birthday." Because my birthday is December 1st. And he's like, "What do you want? What is it?" I go, "How about a Peloton?" He goes, No way. We're not buying another piece of equipment that's going to end up being, you're not going to put your clothes on there. We don't use the other two things we have. What do you need another piece of equipment for? And so I told him, I go, "But there's a 30-day money back guarantee. Like, if we don't like it, we can return it." And he's like,
I love it.
Right? He's like, "You're going to do what you're going to do anyway, so just buy the thing." And then fast forward, here I am.
That's amazing. So you only got it back in December.
Yeah, we got it on November 17th, and my first real ride was November 20th.
Fantastic. So right in time for the Thanksgiving turkey burn.
which is funny. You'll love this. I ended up doing the Robin turkey trot, the 45-minute one. And people were like, "Are you insane? You've had that thing for like 4 days. You're doing a 45-minute ride?" I'm like, "Yeah, it'll be fine." Yeah, no. I got off of there. I couldn't move for 2 days.
I'm sure.
Like, oh my God.
I'm sure. That is crazy. That's crazy. So so you're actually quite a newbie. I don't think I realized that when we were chatting. I didn't realize that you were such a newbie. That's amazing. That's amazing. So being such a newbie, clearly you said that you've had some friends, but kind of give me some idea as to how you really got involved in the community. I mean, you had mentioned to me that you have different aspects to community connection. So fill us in on that. Give me some insight into that.
Oh, well, I'm very involved on social media. And so basically follow everything and everyone on Facebook and on Instagram. But, what's been great is I have two sets of different friends. I have work friends, and we actually have a Teams channel in our org that we go ahead and every morning we're like, "Okay, any new news? What's going on? Did anybody hear anything?" Like today, I actually saw on Pelo Buddies because I couldn't sleep. And thank goodness that I did, because I saw that the sale had gone live, and I'm like, I'm jumping on this thing, right? And so I think it was probably 5 a.m. Pacific time. I couldn't sleep, like I said. And so thank God I did, because by 6:30, everything was sold out, right? Like, forget getting anything in your size. And so I immediately went on that group chat, and I'm like, "They're having the sale, get on there right now," right? So I was telling everybody that they needed to jump on and buy more stuff. And then I have a separate set of friends who I actually set up daily rides with. So we usually do it in the evening. We'll say, "Okay, who can ride tomorrow? What does everybody's schedule look like? Who's in for an 8:30? Who wants to do a live ride? Do you want to do it in the afternoon, or do you want to do it in the morning?" And so it's great because it's absolutely kept me accountable. Because when I tell somebody I'm going to show up at 8:30, I'm going to show up at 8:30, right?
Right.
And so it's been fantastic having these two sets of very different friends. Basically not only keep me accountable, but also be in the know of all of the different news, et cetera, that goes on. And then also like I said, I'm very involved on Facebook. So, there's just a ton of different competitions, et cetera, that are going on. There's one right now that I'm finishing up, which is the Emma Lovewell core, the 4 weeks.
Yes.
And there's actually a hashtag, which is Gimme Core. And
I
so
love it.
there's I think 3,000 different people on this hashtag. And it's kind of crazy.
That's amazing.
So it's awesome. I love it.
What I love, it's so funny because on this week's episode, we're talking about the new schedule feature that Peloton had just released.
Yep.
And listening to you talk about that, I mean, how perfect and how amazing to be able to now, kind of go on, invite your friends to those specific, what you guys have kind of chatted about. And
Yep.
you're all on the same. So I found that feature to be absolutely fantastic. I know that it's just in beta form and they definitely have some tweaks that they need to do, but, we'll chat about it on this week's show, and because it's just such a fantastic new feature. So how perfect for your group of folks that you're part of. And I love how it's right there. The next thing is obviously it needs to kind of move over into our calendars so we can actually see what's going on there. So there are definitely some tweaks and stuff that need to be done. And I think that's what's so fantastic about the community. And from my own experience, I'll be honest with you, I had that, today too. I kind of woke up this morning, it's freezing here, absolutely freezing. And I just, I don't have anything set to do. We're recording this on a Friday. I don't have anything set to do typically on a Friday. And I was chatting to one of, somebody that I've met on social media, and we were kind of going back and forth, and she was like kind of on the couch, and I was kind of on the sofa, and we kind of went, and I said, come on, let's go do a ride. And I think that's what, and we did. Yeah. And she said to me, Amanda, I'm not competitive on the leaderboard. Don't look at my numbers. We've ridden a lot together, but I said, I don't care. I just know that you're getting me onto the bike. We're starting this ride at the same time. We're accountable to each other for those 30 minutes. Yep. And I have to tell you, it was fantastic. So that accountability and having that within the community. And isn't it amazing how, I mean, you said you've got your work friends and you've got your friends, your friends' friends, but isn't it amazing too how one has connected with people that we've never met and that
crazy.
We speak to every day? I find that to be so fantastic.
I love the fact that people are, they're just so helpful, quite honestly. Like as a newbie, right? I don't know. You should have seen me trying to click out of the bike.
Initially, I know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, what a hot mess. That was just, it was classic. But, I put it on the women's page. I took it down afterwards because then after I did a search, I saw like 50,000 people had asked the same question, but still.
That's okay.
But, it's great that people were willing to say, hey, by the way, take a look at the pedal. You have to do this, blah, blah, blah. And it's just so nice to not have to, always call up a friend, always have to do search on the web, go, find it on YouTube or whatever it is. It's great to have this massive group of, it seems like, extended family that help you out, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And everybody's kind of motivated to the same thing. We're all doing this because it's fun and it's, it's giving one, kind of motivation and, and this new, lease on life, what certainly did for me, it gave me this whole different perspective. And I joke about it. My husband will often say, he'll go, who are you and what have you done with my wife? Because I was just never anybody, that would never work out every day. So, it's certainly done that. And I'm sure you were saying that sometimes you don't feel like getting on, but you do.
Yeah. You know what? Here's what I would tell you. The constant encouragement that come from others from this group is absolutely amazing. I will tell you, I belong to an autoimmune group. It's a Peloton autoimmune group. Yeah. And people are so amazing. They put everything out there, everything from their struggles, what they're going through for the day, to questions about medication, to questions about symptoms and are others feeling this way. And, I just know when I was diagnosed, I didn't know anybody else who had it. There was, lupus is, it can be hereditary. For me, it was not. My mom has rheumatoid arthritis, but no one in our family had lupus. So I didn't know anything about it, nor did I have any friends that had it. And so to be able to now look and see this amazing community where you can just ask questions about, you know, a symptom that you may be having, or a doctor that's giving you advice. And is it normal to feel this way? Or even, I mean, very timely, people are posting things on there about the vaccine, right? Especially for folks with autoimmune diseases, you have to think about that. And so, you know, hey, I had the second vaccine and here's how I'm feeling. Just know this is totally normal if you decide to get it. So it's been amazing to just be able to be part of this whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is truly amazing the way, you know, that you can just get advice from folks and nobody's judging you. Everybody's doing it for the same reason, you know, and I love it. It doesn't matter if you're big, if you're small, if you're, you know, whatever it is, everybody's encouraging everybody. It is amazing. I mean, look, I think you know, there clearly are those folks out there that'll, you know, find a way but we remove ourselves from those groups and we stay in the ones. And I think the other thing, and I don't know if you found this, but I think the other thing is the support we get from the instructors. You know, and just that you feel like they're talking to you. You know, you're on, and they're talking to me. I mean, what do you mean they're not talking to me? Of course, that's whatever they're saying is to me. Right?
I will tell you. So I have two favorite instructors.
I was just going to ask you who your favorite were. Tell us.
So if I'm having a really bad day or I need to get pumped up, like I go for Cody. Cody just makes me laugh. I mean, he's like, it's like sitting there and reading, you know, a Cosmo mag with your best friend and just howling. I can't tell you how many times during his XOXO, I have literally keeled over on the bike, still trying to pedal, but cannot pull it together because I'm laughing so hard because I'm just like, did he really just say that out loud? And oh my God, I love you, right? Because it's everything that I think, but I never say. So I love him. And then, you know, my go-to when I just need my butt kicked is Alex, because Alex puts things in perspective that you may not ever think about. Like I had my Century ride with him and I burst out into tears because he made a comment. And when you say it sounded like he was talking to you, he made a comment where he said, you know, you need to get up and ride for all the people who can't. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, oh my gosh, like I keep getting weepy. It was like he was talking to me because that was me. That was me 13 years ago when I couldn't get out of bed. And so my butt did get up and I was exhausted. And by the end of it, I thought I was going to barf. But man, that guy is just so impressive, and the energy, and he is so humble. I love him. And
I don't know if you know his story. We spoke about it a couple of weeks ago on the show, but you know, Alex's story is that he was a janitor in a gym.
Yeah.
And you know, and he basically decided, you know, that this is something that he wanted to do. And you know what? I admire him so much, and look at him today. He's one of the you know, most ridden with instructors with Peloton. So it is fantastic. Yeah, and there's somebody for everybody. You know, there are so many coaches and so many instructors out there. There is you know, something for everybody. So it's an amazing community, and I think you know, and this is why I was so thrilled to get you onto Pelo Chat, because there are people that just don't talk about their, you know, whatever their issues are, whether it's about mental illness or whether it's about infertility or whether it's about cancer. And in your, you know, in your perspective, you know, an autoimmune disease, some people just aren't comfortable talking. And you and I clearly are very alike, because I'm very open about, I had an infertility journey and I'm very open about it. And I talk about it with other community members. I'm much older now and my kids are much older, but for you too. And it just can, as you say, it can give perspective, and folks that can hear this can say, wow, if she can do it, then I can do it, you know. And you've kept yourself healthy and you've kept yourself going. Look, I mean, you've gotten through a whole pandemic. through this as well. So good for you. Good for you. You have to be so unbelievably proud. And, I know you'd said to me when you saw that I had reached 1,200 rides, I've been riding for a lot longer than you. So, 2 years in the bag. But you know what? If you had asked me, if you had interviewed me 2 years ago and had gotten to 100 rides, I would never have told you that I would have been here today. So, I've said to everybody, it's not a sprint. It's a marathon. You take your time and you run it and you do it as you need be, and you're doing it for you, right? You're not really doing it for anybody else. You're doing it for you. Yeah. So good for you. Good for you.
Thanks.
So, so tell me, anything else you want to share with us? Anything else that you think would be helpful to folks listening?
Yeah, I would just say, it's always good to be kind to others that you see on that leaderboard, especially ones that may be, like, I ride under the hashtag Lupus Warrior. And now you guys know, people know out there what it is, what it means to ride with that hashtag, and the struggle that many of us have to just get on the bike, especially when you have very, very painful joints that could be screaming before. But, do a shout out, do a high five. It means a lot to the person that's on the other end, and you may not ever know that. So that would be my thing.
I love that. I think those are such words of wisdom and so from the heart. And I appreciate you sharing that, because I think that that's amazing. Yeah, so Parisa, so to end off, what we like to do is just have a little bit of fun with our guests. We do something called our descent and recovery, and it's basically just 60 seconds. I'm going to fire away some questions to you. You're going to give me your answers. There's no right or wrong, but just as best as you can, and we'll go from there. So if you are ready,
bring it.
Let's go. Bike or tread?
Oh, bike.
Favorite instructor?
Ty. It's right now Cody.
All right. High cadence or high resistance?
High resistance.
Early bird rider or night owl?
How about 9 a.m.?
I like that. Meditation or strength training?
Oh, strength training all day.
All right. Live or on-demand rides?
Live.
Good. First class you've ever taken?
Oh, it was Alex a year before I bought the Peloton, and I was a disaster.
Oh, how funny. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And favorite class you've ever taken? I think I know which one you're going to say.
Well, no, actually, I have two. Can I say both? One is Cody's stripper ride. Have you heard about this one? Oh my God, it's so funny if you haven't. It was back in October. He had a class. You will die from laughter. And then obviously my century ride with Alex.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to have to go and search out that stripper ride with Cody. I think that's fantastic. I think that is absolutely brilliant. All right. That's it. This weekend, we're going to be riding with Cody in a stripper ride.
Okay. I'll be there.
Well, you did amazing. You did absolutely amazing. I always love to hear what folks say in this, and I do the same questions every week, but it's always fun to hear what different answers everybody has, because everybody's just so different. And while some people like meditation, they're night owls, and while others like strength training, they're early bird riders. That's awesome. But so the most important question that I like to ask, and I want you to tell us, is what's your leaderboard name? Because we're going to have lots of new followers.
Yeah, so it's ride or die for boba. What that is, so I love bubble tea. It's my vice. And so I had to incorporate that into my name. So that's where the boba comes from. So I ride or die for bubble tea. There you go.
I love it. I think that's fantastic. Well, I'm telling you, you're going to get tons of new followers and folks high-fiving you on that leaderboard. I know that I went ahead and started following you, and I'm looking forward to riding. And now that I can ride at different times in the day, we can try and find a time for us to ride together. We also have a Pelo Buddy hashtag, and I think as we're on episode 26 this week, and I think when we get to kind of a nice big number, we're going to do a Pelo Buddy with all the folks that we've interviewed over the, which I think will be fun, and we can all kind of find a good ride together and ride together. So I have to just say thank you so much for taking the time. I know that you have a crazy schedule, and I appreciate you taking the time and spending it and sharing your story with the community. And I think this is going to be really, really amazing for folks to hear. You know what? That one can do whatever they put their mind to, right?
Yeah, for sure. And thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to tell my story and my journey. I really, really do appreciate it.
Well, honestly, the honor was mine, and I feel honestly so grateful that you took the time to do this. So from me here in Maryland, see you on the leaderboard.
See you from Seattle.
Bye now.
Bye.
Well, Amanda, another week done and dusted, as they say. I think the big highlights is the new scheduling feature. Obviously, as we sink our teeth into that and really use it more to plan out our week, I think that's going to be a lot of fun for our daily workouts.
I 100% agree with you. You know, I think that, and again, the possibility of a new instructor on the horizon is also exciting. So there was a lot this week. Hope you guys enjoyed it and got to hear all the little tidbits of the past week in the Peloton world. We love presenting to you, and again, as we say, don't hesitate to let us know if there's stuff that you that you don't like or do like. We do listen to your comments, and we do take heed to them. So appreciate the feedback. So for those of you watching from Maryland, bye for now.
Yes, and as always, we will see you on the leaderboard. And thanks for tuning in.
Thank you for watching Pelo Buddy TV, your unofficial resource for everything Peloton. By the community, for the community. Don't forget that we have a podcast available so that you can listen to us while on the move. Just search for Pelo Buddy TV on any major platform and hit the subscribe button to never miss an episode.